Hey, so you're thinking about moving to Jupiter and the surrounding area, but you're sitting there scratching your head going, I just don't know about the cost of living down there. It's getting really expensive. Maybe I should go somewhere else. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. If you're wondering, you better stay tuned. Hi, my name's Andy Johnson with the Andy Johnson Group over at eXp Realty. I'm super excited that you're joining me today to talk all about the cost of living in Jupiter and the surrounding area. But before I get into that, if this is your first time joining us on the channel, go ahead and click subscribe, ring that bell so you can be notified anytime we post new content about living in Jupiter and the surrounding area. We look at restaurants, things like cost of living, flipping properties down here, investments, great neighborhoods, great deals, and everything else that you're going to want to know about if this may be on your radar as a place to call home. But let's get into it. Why are we looking at this today? Well, living in Palm Beach County and Jupiter specifically is not the least expensive place to live anymore. And when we're talking to people on the phone, we're starting to hear people say, I'd love to come down there, but it just seems too expensive. Maybe I should go somewhere else, maybe North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, other areas in Florida. And those are all super, super valid things to be thinking about. And when people call us and come down here, it's very important that they understand what it looks like when they get down here, the cost of living, and make sure that it's going to be a comfortable lifestyle that they want to lead. We don't want somebody to come down here and then feel house poor. So, we looked at some information, want to provide that to you so you can think about some different things before you make that decision whether Jupiter is the right spot or not. So is Jupiter right for you? Well, I don't know. That's something that you're going to have to decide for yourself. But as we talk about in all our videos, we cover Jupiter and the surrounding area. So I'm going to kind of digress a little bit into Palm Beach County and the greater area of South Florida when we're looking at this, because the truth is Jupiter is actually one of the more expensive places to live in Palm Beach County. There's some other ones too, like Boca, Delray, Palm Beach. The island of Palm Beach is by far the most expensive, but there's also some more affordable areas like Boynton, Wellington, and we've covered that in some other videos as far as some of the greater value spot places to live. But hold on a second, let me use my cheat sheet real quick. Ta-da! So we went online, and below we're going to add the link to this because this is such a great resource when you're looking at where you're coming from and if you want to come down here, what you want to look at. And we picked a couple different places to consider, both more expensive places to live and less expensive places to live from a cost of living standpoint. Pick 4 different cities that we're looking at. So San Francisco is number 1. Obviously, it's one of the most expensive places to live in the country. Not the most, not even the most expensive in California, but it is definitely a high cost of living. And the bottom line is, if you were living in San Francisco and wanted to come here, your cost of living is going to drop by about 31%. Now, the majority of people that move to Jupiter, truthfully, and into South Florida in general, don't come from California. We definitely have people here from California, but it's not where the majority are coming from. Of course, where a big population of people from South Florida end up coming from are going to be in the Northeast, the New York area, New Jersey, and everywhere else where it is cold and they want to get some warmth in their lives. So Manhattan, obviously not the least expensive place to live in New York. It is a 48% lower cost of living down here. Now, those are a couple of the high-priced places. Another one that we looked at was Buffalo, New York. So if you live in Buffalo, New York, or somewhere like that up in New York or the Northeast, your cost of living is going to be about 24% higher when you come down here. And we are comparing that to Fort Lauderdale with this site because that's what we had to do. Couldn't put Jupiter in there, which is no big deal. And then the last one I threw in here where the cost of living is absolutely extremely low is actually where I'm from in the Midwest, in Springfield, Missouri. And if you live in Springfield, Missouri, it's going to be 38% more. Now, what I love about this website, and again, we're going to put it down below, is it breaks it down for you as far as where costs are coming in. On the first page, you have grocery costs, steak, ground beef, things like that. And then, of course, as you go through this multi-page item list, you have housing costs, utility costs, transportation costs, everything that you're going to need to know about when you're coming down here and if you want to make this place home. So let's toss these, and we're back. It's really important to look at these things when you're coming down here. Now, another thing that's really nice about calling South Florida home are the rental opportunities that you have, and especially for second home owners or third home, fourth home, fifth home, doesn't really matter, but just not your primary residence, is the ability to rent your property out down in South Florida. Now, some people aren't going to want to do that. They want their privacy, completely understand it and respect it. But if you're open to it, it can absolutely lessen the cost of owning a home down here. We have a very, very healthy rental market. You know, when you're going to get the highest rent, if you've never stayed or looked down here before, is going to be during our season, which kicks off around December and ends in about April. The primary months for those renters are going to be January, February, and March. Now, depending on where you're looking at living, there can be some really, really specific guidelines about when you can rent out, how long you have to have owned your property before you're able to rent it out, how many times a year you can rent it out, and what it takes to actually get a tenant into your property. And those are all things that you need to take into consideration. But just for illustration purposes, if you were paying a $5,000 mortgage on a property down here, that would be $60,000 a year. On a home like that, it would probably be easy to assume that you could potentially get $8,000, $9,000, even $10,000 per month during the seasonal rental period and offset your mortgage by $30,000 just during that time. In other communities, you're allowed to rent more than once, and if you wanted to do monthly rentals when you weren't here, you could offset it even more depending on how you would want to use the properties. A lot of people come down here and want to buy things and then change them into an Airbnb, which right now is getting a lot of people more ROI than any other rental style, but you do need to do some investigation on that, specifically the rules and regulations of what is allowed. And then, there could potentially in the future be an oversaturation of those, but I'd love to have that conversation with you if it's something that you're considering as far as moving down here. Another thing that I'd like to mention to anyone right now, if you don't think that Jupiter or South Florida is the right place to live, no worries. You want to go to South Carolina, I network with amazing agents all over the country. So whether it's Georgia, South Carolina, New York, heck, like I said, California, I know great agents all over the place. Give me a call. You want to investigate there and see what it's all about? I'll set you up. I've got no problem with that. As a matter of fact, I would love to do it. More than anything, though, we definitely want to make sure that people understand what they're getting into when they come down here, because costs are different. Homeowners insurance is something that is in Florida is much higher on average than most other places in the country. And that's something that you need to understand when you're getting into a certain property. The other nice thing about Florida, obviously, and why we have so many people come here, of course, is because we have no state income tax. Folks, let's face it, the state of Florida still needs to make their money, and they're going to do it one way or another. So making sure you understand how they're doing that and how they're getting that money is very, very important. You need to look at the taxes for the properties down here compared to where you are. Now, for some places, it's much lower. For other places, it's much higher. It completely depends. But what we want to help you do is understand the cost. What is the true cost going to be to you? I don't know what's happening back there. Oh, it's the Pontiki. This is freaking awesome. This goes up and down, I guarantee you. Here we are. It's a Friday afternoon. I wish it was sunny, but you know what? It is February when I'm doing this, and it's still absolutely gorgeous. And there are people just rocking right there on a Friday afternoon, enjoying some cocktails. I mean, that is why people live here, so that you can go down the Intracoastal in February in shorts and bathing suits on a cloudy day. I mean, if that's not a good commercial for this place, I don't know what is, and it's totally made me lose track. But anyway, we want you to truly understand the cost when you come down here, what you're looking at, and that's what's so important. And so, if this is on your radar, reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me an email. I'll give you a breakdown of what it looks like, what your expenditure would be on a home, how it maybe compares to what you're looking at where you're at, or if it's a second home, and you want to consider a rental to kind of offset the cost of owning down here, we can analyze that for you and show you what a breakdown there may look like. And whether you're looking for a condo, a house, a townhouse, something in a golf course, something farther south in Boca, something farther north in Stewart or Port St. Lucie, we got you. And as I said too, please, please, please remember, anywhere in the country, it's really important to talk to people that are knowledgeable about the area that they're working in. So if you're looking somewhere else, anywhere in the States, give me a call or shoot me a message and I will hook you up with somebody that's going to be able to answer all of your questions. I know we just skimmed the surface, but if you'd like more information about what the cost of living looks like down here compared to where you're at, again, look below, check it out. We'll have the link to this website so you can do a comparison and see what you think. And I sure hope we get to see you down here in Florida soon.